Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking to you about one of the Revolog creative films, specifically Nebula, and how you can bring bright, starry galaxies to your photography. Quick one before we get started. If you like film photography and want to see more videos like this one, film reviews, tips and tricks, that kind of thing, then please do make sure you're subscribed to our channel and notifications are turned on. Thank you so much. We haven't yet talked about Revolog films in the Wonderbox, so I'm going to start by giving you a little description of the company. So Revolog are an Austrian company run by Hannah and Michael. They started over 10 years ago, which makes them legends in the modern film photography revival. They met at university studying photography, and their diploma project they chose to be all about analog and specifically manipulating film before shooting it to see what effects you got. Now, of course, in the late 2000s, that was a particularly crazy idea because DSLRs were taking over the world, but they pushed through. And what they found after they finished their project was that people kept wanting to buy the films. Fast forward a few months, and they decided to take the plunge and test whether this was a market big enough to sustain a business, and thankfully it is. So they operate in a wonderful little location in Austria that has their workshop, has a little shop as well, and allows them to do all of their magic. And what that magic is that they are taking film in the dark, pulling it out of the canister, exposing it with various different light, electricity, different experiments, rolling it back up, and then selling 12 different variants of Revolog. This is Nebula. Now, this may sound fairly random, but when we spoke to them before, we did a YouTube live with them last summer as part of Analogue Television. They talked about the fact that the problem is often getting consistency with the effects. So even though they are random in that frame to frame and roll to roll, it will not look the same, there still needs to be some kind of photographic consistency so that you can know the exposure, so that you can know what kind of things will come out each time. And there's a real science to that. So it's a beautiful mixture of art and science that they have really, over the past decade, absolutely nailed. So let's talk about Nebula specifically. Nebula is all about bringing galaxies to life in your photographs. So when you use this film, you will see beautiful star streaks coming through with greens and blues throughout your frame. So how do you use this serendipity in your photos to create images that you're pleased with? Well, there's a few tips to be aware of. First of all, because it is pre-exposed at a certain light level, you know that if you shoot bright light, i.e. slightly overexposed with the scene in front of you, that will be stronger than the pre-exposure effect. So you will see if you shot in a bright sunny day, really bright landscape, exposed very strongly, the stars will be very faint throughout. If you shoot it dark, either underexposed or a very dark scene, then those stars will really pop, especially in the shadows. So you can know that even though it is universally across the frame, you can use the scenes in front of you and the choices of light to manipulate how much or how little the effect is throughout your photos. And this is why you often see some of the variation in sample shots across Revolog photos, is people choosing to use different subjects. Scanning is also really important. If you remember back when we shot double film bubblegum, it's the same thing. What you don't want to do is you don't want your labs or your home scanner to try and correct out the colours or anything within the scenes, or do dust removal on it, or anything like that. If you tell your lab or your home scanning software to scan this straight as possible, as though it were a regular Kodak film, say, then you'll maintain the colours and the effects throughout. So this film in particular will work really well when you understand the effect that comes through from the sample photo. So you're going to get stars, and it's going to be particularly pronounced in shadow. So of course, one thing that you could do immediately is start to play with nighttime photography or very strong silhouettes. So you're looking for dark areas of the frame to bring out the stars, light areas to dim that effect. And so you can create some really lovely interaction, as you see in some of the samples from Peter, where he has a starry backdrop to a photo with dark cloth, and then the stars that are pre-exposed are coming through and adding a mystical effect to the entire thing. The other thing you could do is shoot your normal life and just allow the film and allow the effects to come through as you wish, to create an extra splash of magic, extra splash of luck and serendipity to all your photos, to make them look different to if you're shooting with a straight film. Now, of course, this kind of film isn't for everyone, and that's absolutely fine. It's not designed to be for everyone, and when you talk to Hannah and Michael, they are very much of the mindset of these films are designed to be able to bring you something new and fun and random to your life if and as you wish. What this means for me, for example, I probably won't use this in a high-end SLR where I'm looking to get really good detail and really good color reproduction. I'll probably put this in something like my LCA Plus or a simple point and shoot camera and then just have fun playing around with it. I will definitely be looking to aim it at some silhouettes. If you've read Emma's recent article about double exposure, you'll know that similar to pre-exposed things, if you match a pre-exposure or a strong pattern with a really strong silhouette, the interaction obviously looks particularly strong. So I might try some silhouettes of people, maybe backlit by the sun with then stars coming in over the top or something similar to that. If you're a Wonderbox subscriber, please do let me know if you've shot Revolog or double film, which is very similar, or Yodica, any of these before. Unlike Yodica and double film, this is less about color tints and more about those really strong, very eye-catching effects. Please do let me know what you think of them. If you haven't shot them before and you don't think this is your cup of tea, what I would love to know is what you think you're going to use it. If this is going to be an example of understanding and trying out a totally different kind of photography to your normal perfectly exposed Pan F landscapes or something similar, then I'd love to know what you think of this. Will this force you out of your comfort zone? And if you are a connoisseur of creative films and you've shot many Revolog and double before, please do let us know your expertise. Drop Flickr images, drop Instagram posts, anything in the below, any comments that will help the whole community understand best how to get really cracking photos from this film. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again next week.